This is the VO Life Podcast, all about the ups and downs of being a voice actor in the real world. Casting sites, agents, marketing, using every resource to make sure we keep growing and reaching for more. We may not be superstars, but we're grinding our way up. From the occasional regional to the local 15 and everything in between, we are living the VO life. Join us weekly for recent happenings and interviews with the people who can help you on your walk through the VO life. Now, here's your host and fellow traveler, Troy Holden.
Hey, it's Troy Holden here in the VO Life Live here in the studio. Just back from vacation and reflection and some things I thought about and wanted to talk about, and we're going to get those out of the way. But coming up next week, I am going to be out of pocket for the podcast, but Charles Coates is going to step in, and he will be talking to Vince LaBica. And you don't want to miss that one. I'm hoping they're going to get into the rates and protecting yourself a lot. It's something Vince talked about at One Voice. I hate to miss it. I really enjoy Vince. He is a excellent teacher, excellent communicator, and just very important to our industry. Whether you're rep by him or you're not, or you've been told you're not a fit, it doesn't matter. You need to listen to what he has to say. Very important. This week we're going to talk about some deep felt transparency, honesty things, and you guys know I like to tell it like it is for me, and it may not affect you. But then again, it may make you think about how you want to approach some things. And that's what we're going to do today. This one is scary in a way to me, because I am trying to look at the past year, because we're getting into the end of 2024, which is crazy to me. 2025 is coming up, 25 years since we came through what we thought was going to be something scary in 2000, and I can remember it like it was not long ago. Yeah, not good. Anyway, what I want to hit on is the looking back at the things that I did or invested in or tried to do over the last year and a half, 2 years. What's working, what's not, and what am I going to do different now? Let's start out quickly, and let's go through about 3 different things. Conferences first, and then let's just go one at a time. Conferences. The importance of conferences. Should you go to conferences? I think you should try to go to at least one a year if you can. And the reason I say that is it's good for you. You're going to feel better. Am I allowed to yawn on these? Why not? You're going to feel better because you get to see people and associate with people, things you don't get to do when you're in the booth. And I think that's a good thing. Does it further your career? Maybe, maybe not. You can say, I've been to 4 VO Atlantas and things really haven't changed that much for me. Okay, so what are you doing while you're there? Are you going to classes to learn things to help yourself? Are you there just to socialize? Are you there to try to get in front of a casting director or agent so they know who you are? Things like that take time. Into this where I'm at, I'd say more people know me than not, but on the other hand, that doesn't mean they're going to listen to me closer or anything. They know what my reads are probably. They kind of know how I am, and it probably doesn't matter that much. For some people, it may. There are lots of benefits to going to these conferences. It is the networking, the personal connections you can make, being in front of those people. If that matters to you, do that. If you do the type of work where you don't need to be in front of those people, then don't go. Save your money. Stay home and work and make money while people are down there spending money. But that's up to you. You make these choices. I can't make them for you. I can make them for me, and sometimes I'm wrong. A lot of times I'm wrong. But take your time, work through it, decide what you want to do, and try it. And if it doesn't work, you go a couple of years and you're not getting anything out of it. You may say, well, I'm not investing in that anymore. There's no return for me. And I think a lot of this is ROI, right? return on investment. Am I getting something back? I just came home the other day, got my mail, and there is the annual membership for the Chamber of Commerce in the little small town of Portland. What has been my return from that? I sat down, I analyzed it. I did a podcast for them for over a year, and I got one client out of it. And the second time I did an internal video for them, they came back to me the second time asking, did I know any female VOs that they wanted to do some TV and radio spots. I'm sorry, not TV. And I knew somebody. I put them on to that, and I was allowed to produce it and put it all together, and we did it at good industry rate, and we both made, decent money off of it. But other than that, for 3 years, and 1 year they comped my fee for making a 15-second TV commercial for them, which I probably would have charged them way more than what the annual fee was. So I decided, no, I'm not investing $200 in that this year. It's a waste of my money. That $200 can go to coaching, and that's what I'll put it towards. You have to decide and go after what you think works for you. So in transparency, where in the past I said, you should try that. You should try your chamber. I tried it. Didn't work. It did not give me the return. My town, my city is not large enough, and I don't live in the city, so I'm not engaged with it that much, but it's not large enough to get a return. So that one's under the bridge. The other thing, and we talked about conferences, we're talking about an investment into things, ROI. Some of the other things you look at is, where are you spending your money on your coaching and the growth of your business? Let me say this without it coming off wrong. Probably can't. Demos, I think, have become one of the things that is the most confusing and most aggravating of any of the elements you have to have. And I had my own stuff I put together when I started. I did okay with that. I landed some agents. I got a lot of work from it. Then I went and got my first pro demo done. I think it was more me than anything. I was agitated with it because I thought it just didn't pack the power I thought it would pack. But then when I went back and looked at it, I said, well, it's because it wasn't me. It didn't capture me and what I do best. And a demo should do that, in my opinion. It should capture what you are best at and maybe touch on a couple things you would like to do or sounds you could do and maybe have not booked. But I just didn't feel like it had all that. I felt like I was trying too hard to sound Gen Am, and I probably was. So went back and hired somebody for another one, and we put it together, and I'm 90% happy with it because I know it's me. It's spots I would do. It's spots I should book. And, it doesn't go too far left field. And we'll see. This year we'll see. I'm not actively chasing agents right now. I have a couple that are actually 3 that I'm really happy with that are sending me good auditions. It's on me to book. I get feedback from them occasionally, which helps me. And so I know where I'm at. And it's not a thing of I got to build this big catalog of agents to get more auditions, because really you get a lot of the same ones from the different agents. So for me right now, it's more of I need to book, I need to make money, get established, and I need to build my book of business. And that's what I'm really concentrating on now and will next year. The base business is what I really want to build, and that is coming through marketing, reach outs, converting people off pay to play, etc. I want that to go up about 50% more than what I had this year. And then I'll be very comfortable in the fact of I'm not doing glamour work, but I have steady work. And as long as I can sustain that and do this, I'm okay with it. And a lot of people, I want to make 200,000, 250,000. I do too. I'm not going to lie. I want to make that money. But the thing is, I got to build toward that. And that takes time. There are people that have been doing this for 3 to 5 years that are not yet making 5 figures, or barely making 5 figures. I don't have a problem with that either. They're building and they're taking their time and they're getting educated and they're learning along the way and they're building relationships and they're networking and people are starting to know who they are in the business. That's fine. I'll tell you a funny thing. I went back last night and watched I Know That Voice. If you've never watched it, it's on a lot of your free streaming things, Pluto's and not Venus, whatever they are. I can't remember what I popped it up on and watched it again. And I saw people that I knew who they were this time. I watched it the first time maybe 2 years ago. I didn't know hardly anybody in the movie. Now I was like, oh, I know who that is. And it was pretty neat to see Eric Balzan there. It was really cool after meeting him in Dallas. I just blown away. How things can change in a couple years. You start to know people, know who they are, what they do, what genres they're in, where they're, what they teach, or et cetera. And there's so much to learn in this business. I'm going into officially finishing up 4 years, pretty soon, and will actually be middle of next year, a full 4 years. But I started in 2020, 2024, rolls around in July or September. I guess it was September is really the official start. So let's just say, I have completed 4 years, 1 year and a half being part-time, the first 6 months being a lot of learning and just trying to figure some things out. And then I learned to go get coaching. This is how you get the jobs. You don't put up a website. You don't start auditioning on pay-to-plays and all this stuff before you do the right things, get coaching and learn. That's what you don't do. But who did it? This guy. I did it. I was Bass Ackards. And, I had to pay for that. I had to really, really clamp down and learn twice as fast because I wasted some time. And fortunately, I didn't hurt myself, if that makes sense. I didn't damage my name or anything because I didn't go overboard with it. I was just trying to do what I could do. There's so many things you can talk about when it comes to that, but that's a whole new show. But today I'm trying to be a little more transparent about where I have screwed up and what I've got to do to readjust. Where I think I got off track last year was over auditioning, and there are a lot of people that teach that. Audition 50 times a day, audition as many as you can, 100 if they come across. But you'll get into an audition machine mentality, and you're not really connecting like you should. I would rather spend 10, 15 minutes on a good audition, something coming from my agent, spend the time on it, break it down, make sure I've got it correct, make sure I'm acting, make sure I'm into that character, make sure I'm in that moment and doing it correctly. And I have a place I'm able to test that every week to see how am I doing and get that feedback, and I pay for that every week. It's not a lot of money, and I love it. It really helps. So keep doing things that will, A, get you exposure, B, get you feedback, and then find your path to improvement and how you're going to get there. Charles and I talked a couple of weeks ago about the things he had done, the conferences he went to, the investments he made, the coaches he's working with. And he is just killing it because he set a plan, he stuck to it. Yes, he's naturally talented, but like we all learn, your voice and your ambitions are not enough. You have to be trained. You've really got to learn the business. And he is proving that week by week by week. The more he does it, the better he gets and the more he books. I'm very proud to call him my friend and very proud of him. Jake Sanders, who was on the podcast, another VO podcast with myself, Charles, and Alden Schoenberg. Jake has really made big leaps this year. And I think a lot of that with these guys is we were accountable a lot for a long time through the podcast, through meetings and whatever, and it helped them get their focus on what they wanted to do. The difference in me and them is they both can go book all of that work that, they can compete for that work that a lot of it I can't. And people say, well, you shouldn't say that just because you have an accent. Look, I'm going to tell you, I don't care what you say, how much I tone it back or whatever. It is not something you hear on mainstream television very much. You don't hear it on top commercials. You don't hear it on national spots very much unless it's specified they need it. And then every agency has a pocket full of guys that do that and do it well. So unless somebody falls out of play, you don't have the chance sometime to become that guy on that roster. Are some of them faking it? Maybe, probably. I don't know. Maybe they can turn it on and off. I don't know. I got tired of trying to do that because it played with my head too much. I started thinking too much and my auditions suffered and my bookings went down. And then when I went back to just be you, get into the part, but be you, things got better. And I've had a rash lately of auctioneer bookings, which that's great. That's fine. I was a licensed auctioneer for 20-something years. The cadence is easy for me. And then when I combine voiceover and speed reading with it, it makes it fun. And that's what I get booked on. So I enjoy doing those. And there's times I audition for those and don't get booked. And I almost will bet you the person that booked it's not an auctioneer. And that's okay if they're good and they can pull it off. You can mimic a lot of things. We all do that every day. Lastly, but not leastly, I'll talk about a little bit of the presence, the world, your presence out there on the World Wide Web and on all these sites and this, that, and the other. Go back and look at your ROI for that too. Is it really worth your time to put a post up every day on Facebook, every day on TikTok, however many a week or whatever? Is it worth your time? What do you get back from that? Is it just to entertain your fellow voice actors? Is it reaching potential clients, which we know the place you reach probably the most clients is LinkedIn, and that's the place I probably post the least. But I use LinkedIn as a research database. I go in there and research all the time for contacts, and then I'll try to direct mail them, and if I get stuff back, then I'll go back to LinkedIn and try to connect. I'll post occasionally on there, but not a lot. If it's not getting you anything, you might say, well, I don't have to worry about it as much, and that's kind of where it can get to. I thought maybe a year and a half ago, maybe I needed to do that just so people knew who I was. And when my name crossed their desk, they go, oh, yeah, I see that guy on Facebook all the time. Nah, I don't know. I don't know that a lot of that stuff is beneficial. A lot of people say it is and you got to do it and whatever, and that's fine too. I'm not telling you I'm right. I'm just telling you what I think I'm going to do. I'm just going to, I'm going to worry about my group. I took out my business page. I didn't feel like I needed it on Facebook. I have my personal page and I have the VO Life group and that's it. And I'll post when I've got a new podcast out. I'll spread that across the groups that allow it. And I'll put those on my personal page or whatever, and people can follow me there. But that's, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's so many things that we pour time into that we don't get anything back. And I would rather spend that time with family. I'd rather spend that time outside. I'd rather spend that time doing something else. One of the things I've also learned this past year is that my ability to produce has gotten a lot better. My ear, I've always had a good ear for music. I've been very musical my whole life. I have, worked in recording and stuff prior to voiceover and understood everything and how things worked and how to get a good mix and how to choose music and, et cetera, et cetera. So what I found is I enjoy doing a few demos for newer people. I'm not a professional at it, but I can do okay. I can hold my own especially with someone with my experience. And on the other hand, I can also produce radio imaging fairly well. It came fairly naturally to me. It's a little time consuming sometimes when you're putting a lot of effects in, a lot of different things, but I enjoy it. It's fun. And I've done a couple of demos for people for that. And I helped somebody a couple of weeks ago that got and had they had reached out and the client wanted to book them and they wanted it fully produced. And, he was like, I don't do that. And I was like, well, I'll help you out. We'll do it. We'll knock it out. And he got really good feedback. So I think I've got that stuff kind of to quote unquote fall back on. But the thing is, I would love to produce more spots for people, whether it's a sample or whether it's an actual spot. And I do some finished spots for about 3 different clients where I mix the music, choose it, put the sound effects in. They'll send me some direction. They'll send the script. They'll send some direction. This is the kind of atmosphere they're looking for and the kind of music and blah, blah, blah. And I'll usually send them a couple of choices and they'll run with one of them. And they'll put it on the radio, and I think that's great, and I enjoy doing it. And like I said, I enjoy the imaging. But how to get into that and do more of that, I don't really know that I have time to research it and dig into it because I'm trying to do what I said all along I wanted to do in this business. Work less, make more, or make the same as I made, at least the same as the year before, but not put so much time into it. And I found out during this remodel and then going on vacation, I had a pretty decent October. I mean, the month's not quite over, but it's close enough to the end where I can say it was a normal month for me, but I was gone for a week. I did lose a job while I was gone based on my out-of-office reply. Client had sent something, former client sent something and said, hey, we want to use you again for this, want to check on your availability for next week. My out of office said, I'm out until Friday. I can record if necessary. You can text me at this number and that way I'll know to check the email. And they said, I replied back that night about 4 or 5 hours after they sent the email. And they said, I'm sorry, we were in a time crunch and we moved on to our second choice. And I'm like, I didn't even answer yet. But the out of office, when they saw I was out of office, I think that's all they saw. Out of office reply. Oh, he's not even in. We better get the other guy. But had they read my email and saw that I'll be back, I'll communicate with you, and especially their email said, we don't need you till next week. But, that's the business. That's the way it goes. You never know, right? But other than that, like I said, a good month, an average month for me. I do want to build that base up a little thicker, a little better. I'd like to have, it'd be nice to know I'm going to record for a couple hours a day, solid record for a couple hours. I still, no audiobooks, still haven't done one. I got close on one a couple weeks ago and it wasn't really long, like 30,000 words, which would have been a good starter for me, I guess. But it didn't pan out because I told them flat out $250 a finished hour. I'm not going to do it for less than that. And it just didn't pan out. And that's okay. On we go because I have no experience with it and I probably shouldn't do it anyway. I feel bad doing it because there are people that know what they're doing that will charge that and they know exactly what they're doing. You need a spot done, let me know. You need a documentary, let me know. You need a 2,000 word narration done, let me know. I can knock that stuff out. I know how to do it, get it edited, make it sound great, get it to you quick. But a book, I don't know. It's real similar. It's not that much different. Yeah, it is because everybody's talking about punch and roll. I've not done punch and roll, and I'm not that I'm too old to learn. I just don't want to do anything different. I like what I do, and I want to stick with it. I'm not saying I won't ever do one, but I don't intend to ever do one. If I do, it'll be an accident or a favor. Okay. I don't know if I had anything to add to this in talking about, where we're going or where I'm going for this next year. The plan is to continue to market, continue to work in Nimble and learn more about Nimble as they've added these new features, make these automations work for me where I'm not tied down to it, better leads. Where do I feel like I know I could book more and I'm just not, and not understanding why? I started out super hot in automotive. I book, and then all of a sudden it was like you turn the faucet off. And then I would just get one here and there, and then it would get a little hotter again, and it'd cool back off. And I did retool my automotive demo because it had a lot of what I would call COVID spots. As the market changed after COVID, and that was about the time I got my demo done, was 2021, late 2021. I can't remember, summer 2021 or summer 2022, one or the other. And it was a lot of focus on, order banks. You come into the dealer and order your vehicle, and that was the way it was. They had no vehicles. It focused on service. It focused on different things. So I went in and retooled, put a hard sell in there, did some things, cleaned up some spots, kept a couple of the old spots that were okay, and retooled and started pushing that page again. I feel like I have the ability to carry that and carry it well. I think I'm teaching it at times. So I feel like I've, because of the background I have in it in automotive for many, many years, and the understanding of the business and understanding of how the reads are done and being able to do that, I just need better opportunities, and I've got to find a way to get those. It's on me. It's not anybody's fault but mine, right? It's my job to go out and market and sell myself. The other area I think I could do better with are companies that do outdoor work, outdoor type things, whether it's, equipment or farm stores or whatever, even smaller on a smaller level, whether it's local radio spots and et cetera. I think I carry that folksy feel into a lot of that would work really well. And again, targeted marketing in your genre, in your area of the country. You just have to find out who's doing those spots. And that's the hard part. And one way of doing that is directly picking up the phone and calling the companies, the stores, and say, hey, who produces those radio spots for you guys? I was coming back from vacation and heard some terrible, awful car spots. And they were in larger towns like Knoxville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. And some of them were over in the edge of Kentucky, but just the effects, and they were overly, sounded terrible. They were not read in the way that we are trained, in the way that I would train somebody to read the spot. And I was surprised. And I thought, well, I'm writing down the name of that dealership. And I did, a couple of them. And I said, I'll call them and say, hey, who does your spots? Because sometimes they know, sometimes they don't. But you can get to that production company and say, man, I'd love to help you guys with their spots. Is there any way, next time you do one for them, would you let me do one here out of my studio and send it to you? I'll send you just my vocal, and then I'll send you a fully produced spot. And, and who knows, it may lead to doing more production work. You just never know until you try. And that's what I've got to do. I got to try harder for the things that I'm slacking in. And it can be done. You just have to do it. So we're going into November and December, and I'll close with this part, is I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot probably to further myself until next year, because we've got my wife is having a second back surgery on her upper back. B, I have to have lower back surgery. I have about 3 vertebrae that are out of whack. 2 of them have little to no disc, and they're going to put pads in there, and I'm going to get a rod and screws and, a great big incision, and it'll probably put me out for a week to 10 days. So and that'll probably be December, early December. We're not positive yet. We haven't scheduled either one. But we got that coming up. So taking care of her, getting her back on her feet, then her taking care of me back on my feet. We've already told all the family no holidays for us this year. We probably cannot participate in anything because we've got double surgeries and, we've just been swamped. This has just been the last half of this year has been something going on all the time between she had surgery in July. We started a remodel the week after she got home from surgery. That just finished up a couple of weeks ago. Now we're going into 2 more surgeries. And I went last week and had an injection in my thumb because I have trigger thumb due to computer and different stuff. And if that injection doesn't help, and I'm wearing a brace for it when I work on the computer, and it seems to have helped, but will it last? They're supposed to last 3 to 6 months, and it's only been 2 weeks. Dealing with that. And I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just saying as you get older, things happen. You work hard all your life, your back, your knees. And I know my knees are bone on bone, and that's probably coming up someday. But the beauty is a lot of times if you can recover and walk, you can walk your butt to your studio and still sit down and work for a few hours a day. Whereas if you're working a regular job like my wife does, she couldn't go back to work for 3 months. She just went back yesterday for the first time since July or June, maybe June, late June. And then she'll probably work 2 or 3 weekends, and then she'll be right back out of work again. So that's the way it is. All right. So, like I said, not much I can do this year, but I can be planning and reaching out and doing my research on how I'm going to build this base bigger, stronger, and try to also continue to serve the people I have the best I can. Let me throw another thing in there, which for the month of October, Fiverr was a good Fiverr month for me. I didn't do very many orders, but I had 2 repeat clients. They both have always done business with me and done it there. Both of them ordered twice, which was 4 orders. And they were an average of, $300 each. So, and 2 were podcast intros, and 2 of them were 30-second political spots, local. They ran in a local area in Arkansas. Good money off not a ton of work. If I could have done all 4 of those jobs in an hour, probably an hour, and they didn't come in back to back to back to back, but, they came in close enough where it's like 10, 15 minutes, you're done. I still don't shirk that, and I still don't hug that up either as it being a place for people to go make money anymore. But I hang on to it because it's a spoke in the wheel, and it's sometimes, like it was October, it was a decent spoke in the wheel. When your regular other people may be slower or, something else is going on, it's nice that this other one picked up and, did pretty well. But me going in and putting it on a 7-day delivery when I went on vacation and didn't flip it back over to 1 day until I got home Saturday. Sometimes that hurts, but we'll see if it does okay in November and December. It's a viable part of what I do right now. So I hang on to it, and people say, I've never been on there and I never want, and that's fine. That's good. I wish I had never had to do it, but it was what I was taught to do. And I don't teach people to do that anymore. I said, you can look at it, but it's not easy. When back then there was a lot more work, and I look at the stats of what's going on there. There are a lot less people going on there looking for VO work now. I think it's down I think they said their VO's down like 45%. So that's where AI has grabbed so much of that work, sadly. And because it was good stuff to cut your teeth on. You weren't hurting anybody. Not a lot of stuff got out there where people would hear it if it was not that great, and you made pocket change to go pay for coaching. And that was what it was for me. But now it's pretty decent paid stuff. It's pretty much always at GVAA rate, or I don't do it. And they said, well, I've looked at your profile and it says 50 words for $25, and I said, yeah, but you got to add your you got to add usage. And yeah, occasionally somebody can order something for $50 and it's 100 words, but it's internal on their website or something and they don't need usage. But I always try, I put usage on there and I call it internal website usage and I put a fee on it. And most of the time they'll click the box. They don't know. A lot of times clients sometimes aren't real educated. They don't know. I've even got social media rights. If you're posting this on YouTube, you got to pay this. If you're posting this on your internal website, you got to pay this. If you're using this for any public paid ad, now you're going to pay either local, regional, or national. And here's the fees for that. And if they don't like that, they skip over me and go to somebody else. And that's fine. I don't want to argue with them and fight with them over that. You either pay me or move on, and it's much easier that way. Wow. This was not supposed to last 30-something minutes, but remember, coming up, you got Charles Coates coming up with the VO Life and Vince Labica. That'll be coming up next week. I'll be back the week after that to hopefully update you on everything, and maybe Charles can join me and we'll talk some more about the foibles of voiceover and the things that we've done stupidly and wrong, and to encourage you not to do those things. The part of the don't do dats. I've had people ask, are you coming to VO Atlanta? The plan is to be there if I can, depending on how all these surgeries and recoveries go. I just don't know yet. What if my surgery gets pushed out till next year because of scheduling? What if, I got to do it in January or February? I don't know that I can travel in March. I almost missed OVC because of my back acting up, and luckily some steroids got me to where I could go. I just don't know, but it's my hope that I'll see you there and get to hang out. I do know I will be returning to OVC. Thank you, JMC, for the invitation, and so I look forward to that. And I will assume it'll be in August again of next year. So see you there if I don't see you in Atlanta. Looking forward to that a lot. I really enjoyed the atmosphere and everything down there. And was good to, hang out with Jake and Charles, and we'll get to do that again. I wish Alden could come. We all four have never been at the same place. Charles and I have been to VO Atlanta several times. Then we got to hook up with Jake in Dallas. And hopefully we'll get to do that again next year. We will continue on our track here at the VO Life, over 150 episodes, 3.5, 4 years of opinion, of guesswork, and of, trying to stay afloat in this business. So in closing, let me say this. This year, I would love to have come in here and at the end of the year and say, man, I really set the woods on fire. I did everything I said I would do this year. I really had almost a mirrored year of last year, a little bit more income, a few more nice clients, some change. I worked on some things. I thinned some things. But let me tell you where I feel like I made stride this year is that I'm not in this room all the time. And that's where I was the first year full time. I was working 10, 12-hour days. And I saw a post, and I think this is what did it for me. Somebody said, what in the crap are you people doing for 10 to 12 hours? Good point. I started analyzing what I was doing. I was wasting a lot of time that I could have been doing something else. Get after it. Do your business stuff. Be vigilant about your business stuff. Knock it out, and then get out of here. And you'll feel better and you'll do better because you won't be worrying yourself sick about all this stuff. And it's easy to worry yourself sick about your business. The thing is, I would reflect every now and then and say, where am I at? Where am I at? Well, let me show you what helps. And this is, you can't see it great, but it's just a board. And you see that little $75 thing right there. That's a church that I do a little intro for every every week, and they had sent it Friday, but I wrote it in for Monday because I didn't work last week. And then down here at the bottom, I'll put in appointments. I got to leave at 2:45 to get an injection. And anything I book, I write it in there. So I keep up with it all the time during the week. Book something, write it on there. And then I know where I'm at all the time. So if I come in here and do some work that morning and I look at my little thing and I go, I hit my daily goal, I'm good. And I go away and I'll watch my phone for emails and auditions. And if I get a really good audition, I'll come back and do it. But I get out of here and I feel better. I don't sit here and wait. And I think I did a lot of that for a year and a half. Sit and wait. I'll just piddle on Facebook. I'll piddle over here. I'll do this. Not anymore. Not anymore. I feel better if I get up, get out, keep an eye on my phone, and do the thing. I hope you're doing your thing. I'm going to keep doing mine. I'll keep telling you about it, whether it's good or not. You have to follow your path. Go watch that movie. I Know That Voice. You'll even hear people in there talking about there's no one path. And folks, this is way back, I want to say 2014, 13, somewhere back in there, maybe 15, I can't remember. But it's over 10 years ago, I think. And you're going to see and hear a lot of the things that you're hearing people talk about now. You're going to see people and go, I know who that is. You know, I see that guy advertising his coaching on Facebook. Yeah. You're going to see Eric, which I thought was neat, because Eric talked like, you know, in Atlanta, he kind of, or Dallas, he just burst on the scene the last few years. He had been around a while, but taking over, you know, Bugs Bunny and stuff. You know, he probably could do it then, but he's not doing that in this thing. He's doing some different stuff, which is neat to see. But you're going to see a lot of really cool people. Mark Hamill, you know, tons of cool people. Watch it. It's really worth sitting and paying attention to it and watching it and getting to see them in the studio doing animation with like 8 of them at the same time. That's pretty neat. I don't know if there's that much of that anymore, but it's pretty neat to watch. This was probably during the explosion of home studios as they were becoming more and more popular. I even saw one guy on there who was talking about he plugged a USB mic into his laptop and he'd go do podcasts in people's houses, you know, record them. And he said, I just got to talk to my friends and we had a blast, you know, and that's pretty neat. Kind of how it all started, you know, and the way it is. Go watch that. You'll hear people say there was no one path to getting there. And you'll see some actors, TV actors or movie actors you recognize. You say, I know that. I've seen that guy and stuff before. I didn't realize he was the voice of this and the voice of that. It's pretty neat. You'll like it. I Know That Voice. That's the name of it. I know your voice, I think. You're probably tired of hearing mine, but we're going to be around for another while, and Charles and I will be back soon. Don't forget, next week it's Vince LaBica. I'll be back the week after, maybe with Charles. We'll see. And keep your thoughts positive for all the things we've got going on. We appreciate that. Appreciate your prayers, concerns, cards and letters, whatever. Checks, we'll take those too. Appreciate all of that. Appreciate people reaching out. Appreciate those of you that asked for the consults. I enjoy talking to you about it, how to start, how things are going. It's a lot of fun. More to come. We got a whole nother year coming up. We got a year to finish. Wishing you prosperity and being very busy in this busy season, and hoping that you are enjoying your VO life. See you next time.
You are listening to the VO Life with Troy Holden.